discovers a dashing hero. Meet Marius the Gallant. He's a legendary skinwalker, joining the Arbiter and Romantic drinks blood as a reward for completing a set number of progress missions. Marius is no regular horseman. Oh no. This defense champion rides into battle with a debuff that was previously only available to Raid's biggest, baddest bosses and one other legendary champion. Can you guess what it is? His default skill, Auric Lance, is an AoE attack that has a chance of placing Enfeeble on each target skewered by it. Yes, that Enfeeble debuff, which you should remember if you've ever fought Akuma in the Phantom Shogun. When under Enfeeble, affected champions can only land weak hits, unless stated otherwise in their skill or overruled by something like the Affinity Breaker artifact set. Enfeebling even a single damage dealer can kneecap your enemy's damage output, and Marius can put pressure on the entire enemy team with this skill. Combine it with a counterattack buff, ally attacks, turn meter boosts, and you can be constantly pumping out party-wide Enfeebles. Marius' second skill is called Death or Glory, and it's another AoE attack. Marius lets fly with 3 devastating stabs, with each hit decreasing enemy buff duration by 1 turn. This means you can effectively negate most, if not all, enemy buffs with this skill, assuming you can overcome the target's resistance, as this skill isn't technically stealing or removing buffs. Death and Glory is a great way to essentially strip enemy team's buffs without triggering polymorph lesson. If that wasn't enough, Death and Glory's damage scales based on the target's max HP, meaning it'll pack a serious punch against bosses and the Hydra. Then for Marius' third skill, we have Galloping Thunder, perfect complement to Death or Glory. First, Marius places a 50% increase accuracy and a 60% increased defense buff on his team for 3 turns. He then stuns the enemy with the highest turn meter value, gets an extra turn. As the stun targets the enemy who's about to take their turn, you can absolutely wreck the other team's rotation with a well-timed Galloping Thunder. Marius can then ride boldly forward with the extra turn and tear through his enemy's buffs with Death or Glory, thanks to the increased accuracy buff. The increased defense buff ain't nothing to sneeze at either, especially when Marius' attacks scale off his defense stat. Next, we have Marius' passive skill, Steadfast Knight. Now, if you thought Marius was strong before, this passive turns him into an absolute beast in PvP. First off, Steadfast Knight makes Marius immune to all turn meter reduction effects and decreased speed debuffs. You did hear me right. I did say all. Next, if anyone tries to reduce Marius' turn meter or if a mythical champion changes form, Marius will immediately counterattack with his default skill. Remember those Enfeeble debuffs from earlier? Yeah, those will stack up if you don't respect this passive. As you can imagine, this passive is an excellent counter to arena teams that focus on lowering your speed and turn meter. Pair Marius with enough accuracy and a little luck, and he can blunt an opponent's opening strike and ensure his team can mount a devastating countercharge. Mythical champions don't get off scot-free either. The Steadfast Knight means Marius can land a clutch Enfeeble just after a metamorph is taking place. Finally, Marius has an aura skill that increases his team's defense by 35% in all battles. Coupled with the increased defense buffs from Galloping Thunder and his Enfeeble debuffs, he can make his team a tough nut to crack. Outside of arena battles, Marius thrives against bosses and in tricky PvE locations, where enemy champions have high HP or focus on turn meter manipulation. When it comes to stats, accuracy, defense, and speed are the things to focus on. High accuracy is crucial for taking advantage of Enfeeble debuffs. Defense will increase Marius' damage and survivability, while speed is always useful, especially when it means landing more Enfeebles. Other than that, go wild with gear experimentation. Here are a few artifact set suggestions on screen. Can't wait to see what builds you all come up with. Our recommendation? Equip him with gear that grants him additional counterattacks, or pair him up with champions that can cast consistent counterattack buffs. This will see Marius turning the opposition into a pin cushion.